I wanted to do is go over the print formatting that we were doing before. If you're struggling with lesson 3, this would be a good one to listen to. So let's say, I think I have this set up already. Let's see. Yeah, so basically what you want to do with this is you set it up, you have your user inputs. You're going to um, take inputs for items and prices, right? So I think it's 3 of each. 3 items, 3 prices. You're going to calculate your subtotal, tax, and final total before you do anything else as far as formatting. Get all your values first. Then the first line in the receipt that I think it shows, where is that lesson? So the first line in the receipt that it shows here, that's just a simple print statement that you can do here. And then everything else, if you look at all these middle lines of the receipt, you can see that they're formatted the exact same way, right? So this gets down to the purpose of creating methods. And one of the things I really like about this lab is 90% of the people screw it up. And what that means is that there's a huge opportunity for learning there. I like that you guys learn that, hey, maybe my process for doing most things is a little bit deficient in the sense that I do a lot of redundant things. Eliminating redundancies is one of the most key aspects of developing a successful life algorithm. So, like, if you look at the 1,000 things you do in a day, eliminating redundancies can be a huge part. And the older you get, the more of them you see, and you wish you could look back and go, hey, I wish I could have done that when I was younger. Things would have worked out a little bit more. So it's a really good thing to learn. But the big thing here with this algorithm is that the formatting is only one line, right? You see here you have the exact same line basically, just with different information input on each one of these lines. So you only have to write the formatting once inside that method. That's why I called it print a line, because it's literally every single line. You're just using that method to print it out, and you don't have to write the formatting more than once. So the way you're going to do this is you're going to write print a line, right? And then print a line again. And then this would be like item 2, price 2. And then you do that with item 3, price 3 as well. For subtotal and your total, the thing is you're taking in a string here under item. So you can actually just input a raw string, right? That's a raw string. I can write subtotal, or I can write tax, or I can write total. Those are 3 separate lines, right? So print a line, subtotal, print a line tax, print a line total for the final total. Does that make sense so far? Okay, now as far as the formatting's concerned, right? Your variables go here on the outside, and your formatting goes here. And what you want to do, especially with these lines that are a little bit complicated like this, what you want to do is think of everything with the percentage signs, right? Everybody's looked at, has anybody not gotten an opportunity to look at like how the formatting actually works with the percentage sign? Okay, so what I want you to do is think of those characters as placeholders for variable values that you're going to input later. So if I have my formatting, right, if I were going to type out like this line here, right, what I would do is I would literally just put this in quotes and say print that out, right? But these are going to be variable values. So this is going to be percent something, percent string, and I'll give it an amount that will be like, I don't know, 10 or 15, right? And this number here is the total number of character spaces that I'm going to allow for that. And the reason that's going to help you line it up is because it gives you 10 spaces no matter what. So if I put 3 characters in there, if I put 4 characters, 5 characters, or if I put 10 whole characters, that portion of the line is going to take up that amount of space. So everything's going to be lined up perfectly like this. Now I think cheese sandwich is like probably a little bit more than 10. I think it might even be 15. What's that? 8, 9. Yeah, that's probably closer to 20 characters. So you got to figure that part out for yourself. The decimal places are a little bit more complicated, right? We still use a percentage sign, but we don't need to actually physically put those spaces there, right? What we need is we need to figure out first the total number of number spaces that I'm going to use for that little plot, right? So this side, I mean, how much can a meal cost, right? How much space do you really need for numbers? Couple $100, maybe $1,000 if you do like a whole birthday party, right? So you're going to need, let's say, 4 spots for actual numbers, like for the actual dollar amounts, and then maybe and then 2 decimal places left over for the change, right? And then actually the decimal point counts as a character space. So in total, it looks like we probably need, let's say 4 plus 3, so we need 7 places, right? So we would say 7.2. And the 0.2 is what? Does anybody have that figured out? So you put a decimal point here, and that's for float data, right? That's for anything that's either a double or a float that contains decimal information, right? The dot indicates, okay, to the right of this dot, I'm going to put the number of decimal places that I'm going to allow in that 7 numbers, right? So this is the total number of number spaces, including the decimal point, and this is the number of those that will be to the right of the decimal. Does that make sense? Okay, and then we have to actually tell Java that it's float data. So both doubles and floats are float data, meaning that they have fractional or decimal data, right? So I do like a 7.2, and that's basically it. Does that make sense for everyone?